Why, hello, my spooky children! How are you all? Welcome to the special Halloween episode, edition, version, limited Niko show. Okay, this is why we have a soundboard or a producer or somebody that tells me not to do that at all, because that's terrible. Well, folks, hi. How are you? I hope, and maybe, you're all doing okay on this fine day of Halloween. Yeah, that's right. October 31st, 2020. The year to remember how, well, I'm not going to say it was completely terrible. At least in my experience, it was not completely terrible. There was some redeemable things, of course, but my experience is completely different with yours, so I'm definitely not belittling anybody else's experience during the pandemic or anything related to not enjoying your best life. That's not what we do here. We don't belittle anybody. I mean, thank the YouTube gods if anybody finds this video, and I appreciate anybody who does. Honestly, you guys are the only ones that keep this thing alive. It's not really it's not just me. My voice alone cannot do it. And I just want to let you know, if this is your first time seeing a Niko Show episode, well, welcome, and yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. And for those who have always come back to watch more Niko Show episodes, you guys are just as awesome, of course. I welcome anybody who could find this podcast. Why did I say podcast? Well, this podcast episode will be on Spotify eventually. I gotta still play catch up with a previous episode. I know I'm a little bit of a slacker on that, so I do apologize to anybody who's been listening on Spotify. Of course, I don't know what it is. I have it in my mind earlier in the day, and then when I get home from work or something, then it's gone, right? And then when it's too late, I'm like, oh yeah, I was gonna do that, but I'm already doing something else. Then I'm like, fuck, yeah, it sucks. But for anybody watching on YouTube, this isn't going to be on Twitch because I'm actually recording this episode. I know, lo and behold, I am recording this one. I don't know. It's not going to be that long of an episode. Just kidding. I don't want to say that. It's going to be as long as it needs to be, right? As long as I can go. And I don't know. I'm just in that kind of mood for this episode. You guys ever get that? You ever do, instead of doing live podcast or something, you just record it? I don't know. I can't be the only one, right? So I do apologize if you guys were wanting to see a live performance of this. That's okay. You don't even get to see my face. You just get to see a sweet Dark Souls image and it says you are dead right in front of it. That's okay. That's just to help you get into the Halloween mood. To be completely honest with you as well, it's 1:30 p.m. and I'm doing this during the day, so I can't even get a good old spooky themed video of me because it's too bright out. There's a reason for everything why I can't do that. I can't film in the dark today. But nonetheless, we're going to have fun. This is going to be a great, great episode. There's plenty of stuff to talk about. And now, I usually go through what games I'm playing and what's going on in real life. We're not doing that this time around because I just want to get pretty much to the nitty gritty about I did say no personal stuff, but when I mean personal stuff, like what's going on with where I'm working or how I'm doing in real life, like what's been going on, kind of like up to speed. I'll give you the short version. Everything's great, okay? Just know that I'm doing okay. Now, there will be personal stuff involving, the theme is Halloween, right? But we're going to be talking about everything spooky video game related, okay? Which is going to be really exciting. Horror video games, not even horror video games, but dark fantasy stuff, just darker games that have like the M-rated logo, or they're just melancholy or have some somber tones, or they're really sad in a way, or just dark. Like medieval fantasy has a lot of dark elements to it, like Dragon's Dogma. I mean, shoot, even Elder Scrolls. Bloodborne for sure, even though you can consider that a horror game, but Dark Souls, is a perfect example of dark fantasy. So Even Berserk, if you want to go anime, is a dark fantasy. It's not a horror. But I've been streaming that all month of October's Dark Fantasy, or I call it Darktober Fantasy Month, because I just don't want to stream only horror games. There's plenty of more that add to the horror genre, or I like to go with a more broader term, I guess, is dark fantasy. I like that a lot better. That way, with me, I can enjoy more an ensemble list of games. Because I don't want to shit my pants every time I'm playing a game. You know, I want to... Call me a coward, I don't care. But, you know, my heart can only take it so much being 31 years old, right? Is anybody else out there with me? Or am I just the only one that's just a little...
Uh-oh, retard alert! Retard alert!
Is it like that? Okay, cool. Everyone's against me. Now, with that said, I love horror video games, though. I find them like fascinating. They are definitely one of my favorite genres, and I've played countless horror games in my life. And when we get to the personal side of things, where I talk about how it all began and where we are now with horror video games with me, you'll see that I had a pretty good upbringing on stuff I played. Obviously, it's all opinionated, but I think we can all agree. I'm kind of an all-around person when it comes to games for the most part. The only genres I can't stand are MOBAs, and there goes everybody. MOBAs, racing, and I don't mind real-time strategy games. Like I like Warcraft and StarCraft, but I don't know. All those other like war simulator games I don't really care for. Oh, and then like Civilization type games. I don't care for those games. I do like 4XX games. Those are fun. Like Heroes of Might and Magic and Endless Legend. Man, that was a really cool game. Anyway, besides that, guys, we're here to have fun in this Halloween stream. So this would be a good time to have some spooky music playing. I would be playing some if I was only putting this on YouTube. Well, I just get a copyright claim, whatever. But I got to post this on Spotify as well, and I don't think they would want that for sure. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of white noise and just heavy breathing, and also Cheeto crumbles. But please put on some good old tunes here, because we're going to be here for a little bit. I want you guys to be the most comfortable, but also not comfortable at the same time. This is a good time to get all spooky vibed. And if you guys don't ever find this video, I just know that I hope your Halloween's great. I hope you can pass out candies during the pandemic, you know. I hope you can go out and have a good party, getting shit-faced with your friends, because, you know, it's another excuse to get out of your, I don't know, quarantine lab. And because, my opinion, nobody should be cooped up for that long. And if you guys you've been cooped up since this whole schlock has happened, then yeah, you need to do yourself a service and get out there. I don't even care. Just start throwing eggs at cars or something. I don't know. You know, it's like telling us to not shoot fireworks on 4th of July. If you're in the great U.S. of A., it's like telling someone not to do that, and you're like, what? It's fucking Independence Day. Fuck you. Even if it's a cop. Or, you know what, I never had a cop say no about that, but I've had like security guards at like a complex, at like a, you know, like a house or a complex, and they just pull up on their little fucking just golf cart, and like, hey, don't do that. I'm like, it's 4th of July. I'm fucking lighting fireworks. My goddamn right. Anyway, not to get all patriotic, but you know what I'm saying? Like, same thing with the pandemic. It's like, I'm going on a rant here, but we'll be done here real quick. It's like telling people to not go outside because of this, even though humans don't like being cooped up. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. You got to be a free range chicken, okay? It's not healthy. Anyway, I don't know if that made any sense, and what was the point? I don't fucking know, but just know that Slippy says.
Get this guy off me.
Yeah, Slippy's actually underneath my computer chair. Squash that little fucker. Alright, now let's get to the meat of it. As I mentioned before, this is a Halloween special. We're talking about horror video games, monsters, and my personal experience with the horror genre in itself. And, you know, guys, let me know down below in the comments real quick, or not now, but just whenever, of what was your favorite horror games, favorite horror video game moments, scariest monsters, and if you like horror video games, and just if you got a cool story, hey, by all means, this is the perfect time to do that. Because I'll be definitely telling you some good horror experiences or stories that I've had too. I'm going to do my best to recollect it, go down the line. I'm only going to be going through the stuff that's really stood out to me, and then everything in between I'll do my best to also mention. All right. Well, thank you all. Now, are you ready to be spooked? Because you won't be. But if you do, or if you have memories of being spooked, then maybe you'll feel a bit uneasy, and maybe you'll have a good time in the end. And then if you want to wear a diaper, that also helps too. Oh, okay. Now, my upbringing, my origin story with horror video games. Now, we have to go a little further than that, a little deeper, just a little deeper. The horror genre in itself, I think it's fantastic, and I'm not just talking about video games, I'm talking about books, just stories, movies, music, the entire horror genre, or just spookiness, or dark fantasy, if you want to go there, is amazing. I think it's the best thing I think it's one of the best things that's ever been created. It's the horror genre itself. And why do I say that? Now, Christians probably don't think that, but good thing I'm not a Christian, right? I'm just saying because certain populations don't like horror imagery. Have you seen the Dead Space 2 Grandma's video? Yeah, that's a good example. I don't know if they're Christian or not, but what I'm saying is that a lot of cultures or religions don't see this on how I see it, or many of you see it. They see it as a creation of the devil. Like, oh, that's the devil's music. Oh, D&D is the devil's game. That's witchcraft. Blah, blah, blah. Ignorant, naive people. Okay? Who don't even try to give it a chance, or they just can't handle the truth. They just can't even know what true horror is because they're too afraid, to get out of their comfort zone. So with that said, Christians is just an easy example for me because, it's true. They see it. A lot of Christians see it that way. No, I don't have the statistics for it. Just know that I have anecdotes, empirical evidence, I guess. Now, a lot of people, will look down on horror video games because of the imagery, of what it represents and what it's trying to do, what it's trying to accomplish, and that's to scare you. And that alone is scary. Is knowing that these guys, these developers, these writers, these authors, directors, producers, whoever, they're trying to do their best to give you a horrifying experience. They're trying to scare you overall. But at the same time, if you're a really intelligent horror genre guy that knows how to create intelligent horror, then you'll have a good time throughout the whole experience. That's the point. Obviously, there's always bad versions of horror, but at the same time, you kind of have fun with it because you just, they become B-rated movies. They become schlockfest, the best, the worst. With video games, music, movies, it's just all entertainment platforms. Just life in general is considered to me a horror video game. There's a lot of crazy shit you experience in life. Not to go all deep on you guys, but life gives you lemons. Life throws curveballs. Many people die in your life that you are going to die eventually. Now, that's always a scary thought. You're going to get hurt. You're going to be betrayed. You're going to be sad. I'm just listing all the bad things. Of course, there's a lot of good things. Don't worry. There's just a whole lot. There's yin and yang, and the yang is definitely very scary. And, but, not all of the scary is bad scary. With video games and stuff or movies, there's definitely good scary. Now, I hope you guys have at least given the horror genre a chance because it definitely deserves your attention. Talk about a way to keep you awake. If you're ever feeling tired, just throw on a good old horror movie or a or play a horror video game, you'll be awake in no time. Also, if you got, hey, I'm just saying, if you and a few girls are hanging out and you want to, you know, you're feeling brave and you want to play a scary video game and they don't, oh yeah, you get props for that. Even though they'll probably go home and just be terrified the entire time. But it's worth a shot. Playing scary. I've had it to where I played scary video games in front of ladies and they appreciate like, oh my god, Nick, don't do this, don't do that. Oh my god, it's behind. You get really into it. It's almost like they're watching a movie, but there's someone behind the wheel in this one. Anyway, it'll definitely give you good brownie points with the ladies. And another thing, NikoTheLegends doesn't give out lady advice ever, so you can just throw that into the gutter if you want. That's okay, right, Anakin? See, he knows I'm lying. Anyway. Now, with that said, give the horror genre a chance in some shape or form. If you don't want to watch the imagery on film, you don't want to see it in video games, read a book. Read a great horror book. There are plenty of great horror stories out there. Hey, you're a big Star Wars fan? Read Death Troopers. That's the best horror Star Wars book. Actually, one of the best horror stories I ever read in my entire life. And honestly, I haven't read too many horror stories in my life. I'm just dabbling a little bit in Lovecraftian stuff, or H.P. Lovecraft, and then scary stories to tell in the dark. I'm still a baby when it comes to the literary works, but there's some stuff we've read throughout our lives, like the Edgar Allan Poe, the good old Raven, Nevermore story. That's a horror story in itself. We dabbled with that. Sleepy Hollow. We've heard some spooky stuff. That's just a part of it's customary, I guess. It's a commonality. Now, with that, I don't mean to repeat myself, but with that said, now we get to the Niko experience. Okay, so as I said, the horror genre is my favorite thing that's been created on this planet. It's just cool to see what people can really think of and they don't get scrutinized for it. It's like a little playground that they can just be insane with. All the twisted thoughts you had, you can put them on in this entertainment platform. It's great, and it works really well in video games when it works really well, and you're just amazed the entire time. It's so great. So how did my video game experience start with horror stuff? Admittedly, I am a chicken when it comes to horror movies, right? Because I like to be in control of the horror experience. I like to control my Isaac Clarkes, my Leon Kennedys, my Doom guy, my Hunter in Bloodborne. I like to be in control of my fear as best I can. That's just me. Some of you might be like that. Some of you might not like horror movies, but you like playing horror video games. I'm that way. But my favorite horror movie, and this is in my top 10 favorite movies of all time, is The Thing from 1981, John Carpenter's. That is my all-time favorite horror movie and one of my favorite movies of all time. So I always have that on my belt. There's just something about that movie I can just always come back and enjoy. I love everything about that movie. If you haven't seen it and you're wanting to find something on Halloween, hopefully I post this in time, watch The Thing. It's fantastic and it's aged very well. And yeah, it's got Kurt Russell in it. If you're a Kurt Russell fan, then you'll love this movie because it's great. It's got Keith David, I think. Captain Anderson fans out there for Mass Effect. Yeah. Wilford Brimley is in it too. So, you got some good cast of characters. Now, video games, on the other hand, I've always been fascinated with, especially in the horror genre. And we always remember our first horror video game experience, or pretty much horror experience in games in general. But when it comes to video games, we all remember the very first horror game we've ever played. And mine wasn't the most, it was a pretty graphic game, a very graphic game, but it wasn't your, like creepy crawler kind of thing, although I guess it might have had some creepy crawlers in it. But anyway, I'm talking about Doom. Okay? Bottom line, Doom was my first horror video game. And look, I know it's a shooter. I know it's got a lot of run and gun in it, but that game used to fucking terrify me. Okay. I was about, let's see, it came out in 90 when did Doom come out? Was it 93, I believe? Doom. Hey, you hear the keyboard? No, classic Doom. Not the 2016 one. Although the 2016 one is amazing, by the way. You should definitely check that out. 1994. No, that's Doom 2. I think it's 1993. Yeah, 1993. Okay, anyway. Sorry about that. 1993, guys. I had my first experience with this game. I was 4 years old, okay? And my brothers and I, we had a pretty bottom line, top of the line IBM computer at the time. Yeah, remember IBM computers? Oh, yeah. And we had, I think Doom was a free software at the time, but I think it wasn't the complete experience. You pretty much are in, you play like the first 8 levels of it, and when you're leaving Phobos, I think, and when you go to Deimos, I think that's what it was, or before you go to Hell. Something like that. I think, yeah, before you go to Deimos. And oh my god, I just remember playing that, just being absorbed and terrified at the same time. Oh my god, let me tell you, the Pinky Demons are creatures that are just so awesomely grotesque looking. And then I'll never forget my experience of being terrified with them. You hear them going like in the background, and it's super dark in the hallways and stuff, and they just charge you and they bite you, and those are normal Pinky Demons. And these pig-like creatures. Then you get the invisible ones, which fucking freaked me out back when I was a kid. And yeah, there'd be a lot of moments like that in Doom. Because, we were on our IBM computer, and my brothers introduced me to the game, or I'd watch them play, and I was always curious about it. And I would give it a shot, and I'd be able to play through all the levels that were offered to me. But man, it can be, the Pinky Demons always got me. And Doom was definitely that first experience of just playing a shooter game, okay, and a horror game at the same time. It was just a fantastic experience. So that was my first ever horror game. I know you guys can probably call it not entirely horror, but just more shooter than horror, but it's got horror imagery in it. I mean, there's people being staked. There's monsters trying to kill you. There's a lot of blood and gore and stuff. It was a freaky ass fucking game for a kid to play, at least for me. All I remember too that when I was done playing Doom, this is where I loved the shotgun. This is where my affinity came for it. It's my favorite gun of all time is a shotgun, real life or video game. It doesn't matter. Because I got it from the Doom game. You use your shotgun all the fucking time. And I had a toy shotgun that I would use every time I go outside after playing Doom, and I pretend I'd be the Doom guy, just slaying demons and stuff. It was pretty cool, It was a good time, especially living out in the middle of nowhere on a farm, on farmland. Your imagination's pretty endless as a 4-year-old, right? Anyway, yeah, and I'm still playing the classic Doom game to this day. I still play it. I think anybody who knows or has played the original Doom back when it first came out or just whenever are still playing it. It's just amazing. And then we get games like Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal that are so fun and fantastic that it just brings me back to those days where I can just hop on and just play, And oh my god, it was just such a great time playing that as a kid. I always felt really brave playing Doom too, because you're just this Doom Marine guy just going out killing monsters and just getting to the end of the level, and it was like I used to know all the secrets. I probably still do know all the secrets. If I went back and played through it again, I know where everything's at because like I said, guys, I played it a gazillion times. The first 8 levels where you're on Phobos, I think it was 8 or 9. I can't remember. You guys can correct me if you'd like down in the comments. But yeah, some hardcore fun stuff. And my brothers and I would just always play it. And that was 93, okay? Now, we're going to get to a game to where I couldn't beat because it terrified the living daylights out of me. And I think many of you also would agree because this was a game that really, really put an impression, a spooky impression on me, a scary impression, was Diablo 1. That's right, by the good Blizzard themselves. Yeah. Diablo 1 came out in 1995, and this was a game that I don't know how my brothers knew about these games, honestly, because this is around time of dial-up, and the internet was still new and just working out the kinks. We had Electronic Gaming Monthly magazines. Maybe they saw in that, but who knows? We just somehow knew that these games were coming out. I don't know. I don't remember. It was too long ago. If it was magazines, like, did we see it on advertised on our computer somehow? Websites? I don't remember. AOL was so fucking slow. Oh my god, it was just a terrible experience. Remember getting the AOL disc in the mail? I remember that. I remember. Oh my gosh, it was what a trip. But this wasn't our first Blizzard game. We did play a lot of Warcraft 2, a lot of Warcraft 1, but mainly Warcraft 2. StarCraft wasn't out yet. That came out a little bit after Diablo, right? I believe so. And then Diablo 2 came out. But Diablo was the next horror experience, the next horror game that I experienced that really scared the hell out of me. And it's always, I think it's for everyone around that time playing it when it came out, because that was a horror game designed as an action RPG. That was a brilliantly designed game. Although if you played it today, it is a little slow and with the pacing clunky, but different times, right? It was this first game. It was the 90s. You know, we've never seen anything like that. Pacing in video games were very methodical back in the day. Nowadays, it's all about, if you're playing like a shooter game, it's always just like, yeah, go really fast, shoot. Yeah, shoot first, ask questions later. Although the Doom guy does that. But I don't know. I just felt that developers really were more careful when it comes to creating experiences like that, especially when it was their firstborn of something of that genre or that franchise. So you gotta be real careful to not screw up many things up. The less screw ups, the better. So my brothers and I were my two older brothers were completely hooked with the Diablo experience. My middle brother is definitely the biggest Diablo fan out of all of us. He spent the most time playing it. Like, those games really sucked him in. He had an affinity towards those games the most. And like my other brother, if he ever hears this, he'll agree with me for sure. And what about little old Niko? Now, I'm 6 years old around when this comes out, and man, I'll never forget the intro to Diablo 1. It's so dark and morbid and freaky, and just, it sets the tone for the entire game, because that's truly how you feel when you're watching this. There's a crow plucking out a guy's eyeball, or an eyeball out of his socket, and then just desolate town, and it's just, oh my god, this is so great. It's so great. It was set up so well. And then when you get to the game, you just see Diablo, the title, and Diablo himself. I think Diablo's in it, and you just hear him laughing. Almost like a Shao Kahn kind of moment. But you're like, oh fuck, why is this text on fire? Who is this demon in the background? And you're just in for a trip, dude. You're in for a trip. I tell you what, Blizzard really nailed the dark fantasy vibe, or the horror vibe, in this game. Now, the most iconic scare moment for that game, and everybody can agree with me, whoever has played it around the time it came out will know that they will never forget the Butcher. Yeah, the motherfucking Butcher in that game was definitely the eye-opener, the shit taker, the diaper change of all encounters of a monster, or with a monster, yeah, was the Butcher. And it's set up so perfectly, and you don't even know. It's almost like a jump scare in a way, almost. you go to his area. It's all dark, spooky, looks wet. Fighting monsters along the way. The music is so good in that game. That and Diablo 2. Everything is being set up, and then eventually you get to his floor, and you see a room. You can't see what's inside of it entirely, but you can see the theme of it. There's blood and guts everywhere, things hanging, bits, bodily pieces hanging from chains. And this is the only room you see that like. This is how you see it. And you have a quest that says kill the butcher, okay? And oh my god. As soon as you open that motherfucking wooden door, all you hear is, fresh meat. And this motherfucking pig thing with an apron with a cleaver is running straight at you. And all you can do, since the game doesn't have a run function, you either walk really fast away, get killed, or you stay there in complete fear and get killed, or you hack and slash at it. You can barely hit him because it's really, he's a tough enemy to fight in the beginning. And you get fucked up. You'll get killed. There's 3 ways of dying, and I've just listed them. When I saw my brother do that, when he was in that area, I was hiding underneath my table, the dining room table. I'm not kidding. The computer was in the dining room table, in the dining room in the corner, and the dining room table is pretty much right behind it, like pretty close. So you can kind of bump into one another. You have so anybody playing the computer had to scoot the chair into the desk, to move. But I was so terrified when I saw my brother doing it, and I couldn't believe it, man. I was shooketh, and so that left a huge imprint on me. I will never forget my experience. That is something that you just don't forget, and it was awesome though. When I look back on it, it was such a fucking cool moment. They did a bang up job. It was such a perfect way of introducing how horrifying this game can be. And the whole Diablo 1 experience is like that. It was a pocket horror experience at the utmost caliber in that dungeon you were in. It was just a pocket horror because, like I said, not all the environments are all bloody and glorified in that area leading to the butcher. But then, oh man, it was crazy. Now, I decided to give Diablo 1 a try, and I couldn't do it. I tried playing it. I couldn't face the butcher. I was too fucking petrified. I was scared. I was a little wuss. I was a wussy little 6-year-old, and I just couldn't do it, guys. I could not fucking do it. It took me many years to overcome my fear. And then finally I did do it, and I felt great, but I was still terrified of the game. It either took me many years to get over that fear and face him, or it just took me many tries in the time the game came out, around that time or a little bit later. All I know is that I was mortified. So Doom and Diablo, first horror dark games that I play that really shook me to the core. What horror games can actually offer in different varieties, different styles. We got the shooter horror, although, like I said, at the time, Doom looked really awesome like that. I thought that was realistic looking, right? And then Diablo comes out, and it's more on the realistic side of things in terms of like the art, the aesthetics, and I'm like, oh fuck, that took me for a joyride. And then, like I said, I'm going to do highlight games that really shook the core for me. I did play a lot of games growing up, like Resident Evil. That was a big franchise that I played. Silent Hill. I remember my friend leaving me in his, we were playing the game in his bedroom or whatever, and he had like a stereo system hooked up. And these are some big ass speakers too. I was playing Silent Hill 1 for the first time, and I knew I was going to get fucked up. And I remember him leaving the room, and 5 seconds later, I'm already screaming. And after 30 minutes of playing Silent Hill, I had to put the game down. And I was like, nope, not fucking doing it. Not fucking doing it. And I was 13 at the time, I think. That game seriously scared the fuck out of me. So, we had our Resident Evils, we had our Silent Hills. What are some other ones that we can remember? We had our Condemned. Condemned fucking terrified me. I beat that game in broad strokes though. That game, that is a masterpiece of a horror game. If you guys haven't tried Condemned, you have an Xbox 360 or an Xbox One. I believe it could be backwards compatible. You got to give that game a shot. It is fucking fantastic horror game. We have our Dead Spaces. Dead Space was one of the best horror games I've ever played. I love Dead Space 1, 2, and 3. Say what you will. I love it's a great trilogy, honestly. It's a fantastic horror trilogy of games. Despite what you guys say about the second and third game, if it's more action-oriented, you guys will enjoy it. Don't worry. Give it a shot. You will enjoy the entire trilogy as a whole. Make us whole, Isaac. Alien Isolation is another one that I fucking couldn't get through because, like I said, like you can get equipment in that game where you can kill, or not kill, but you can use a flamethrower, you can use sonic devices. You know, there's tools you use that can help you get through the game to make sure you're not completely useless, because you can't really kill the xenomorph. It's story related on how you kill it. But that's a game that is so fucking scary and it's so brilliantly well designed. Alien Isolation will make you shit your pants. I'm not kidding. The xenomorph is so horrifying. It really makes you feel like you're there. It's crazy. There was another game that I'm missing. Oh, Outlast is a really great horror video game. Really spooky. I give that a shot. Although some of the stuff in Outlast is a little repetitive in terms of puzzles and stuff, but the horror itself, the premise, the setup for it, oh my god, it is brilliant design. Who doesn't like going to an insane asylum, right? Also, speaking of insane asylum, The Evil Within is also a great horror video game. If you liked Resident Evil 4, it's the same guy who made that game who made Evil Within, so there's a lot of elements that will remind you of Resident Evil 4. It's just way more grotesque and fucking terrifying. I haven't played The Evil Within 2. So there's definitely a lot of horror games and genres you can play. I think my favorite, if I had a horror franchise that I love the most, it'd be Dead Space, all the way. Dead Space, Dead Space, Dead Space. It is a great sci-fi horror franchise. So good. There's not, you know what, honestly, there's not many people that have told me that they played Dead Space and they don't like it. Throughout my entire life, I've had people say only good things about it. So, yay! And then, as of late, like I said, I've been playing horror video games or dark fantasy games throughout the entire month. I even played an old classic called Alien vs. Predator 2000 or something, classic, and with two of my friends and I. And that was really fun. This game's still aged well, and it's still pretty freaky. Xenomorph's charging at me, crawling towards me upside down. I can't get over that. It's fucking great. Like Blast from the Past, right? I'm sure. That's another game that scared the shit out of me as a kid. It was Alien vs. Predator. My oldest brother, I remember playing this when we weren't living on our farmland in Missouri anymore. We're living in California. And I just remember I was in his room. He was playing Alien vs. Predator. I can't remember exactly which one. It might have been Alien vs. Predator 2. And I just remember just hiding underneath the bed sheets, the bed covers, just peeking through, just watching, but being terrified at the same time. It was ridiculous. Anyway, and I tried playing, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't even get past 5 seconds of the first mission. It was bad, guys. Me handling horror nowadays is so much better, but I still get shooketh though. But I can understand how to get through it, right? I just have more experience. I've been exposed to it a lot more. But man, back in the day, nope. So, with that said, that's basically like my personal track record with that. I just want to give you some really touching stuff and then kind of just go through it. I've played all kinds of horror video games, guys, and I just listed only a handful of franchises. If there are other franchises that stuck out to you a lot, like I forgot to mention Amnesia is a really great one. That's a really fun one. There's Are You Afraid of the Dark? Or Alone in the Dark. There's Dino Crisis, you know. There's plenty out there. There is a lot of horror games out there that are so fantastic and so fun to play. If I had a horror game to recommend for you guys, I will say Dead Space. Dead Space 1 is a great horror game if you like the shooty kind of horror. If you want more of an atmospheric type of horror, Amnesia is a good one. If you want a horror game where you're truly a badass, play Doom. That's like that is a a freaking badass fantasy type game for just being a badass, pretty much. Yeah. Also, play Bloodborne. If you like the Dark Souls type game and you haven't played Bloodborne, do yourself a favor. You play Bloodborne and you will never regret it. That is a great horror game, dark fantasy game. Well, now that we got the personal spooky thing, I hope I did a good enough job with that. So I appreciate you guys listening to me on that. Now, let's talk about the last portion of this. The last portion is going to be going through a couple top 10 lists. I try not to be lazy here, but this kind of gives you an idea of what great horror games are out there. Official list, you know. These are all opinionated, of course, but I want you guys to see or hear, what I have to say about, the top best horror games. Every list is going to be different, but it gives you an idea. All right. So the first one you'll see here on YouTube. Oh, I gotta get rid of that. 1 second. There we go. Now, this is going to be the top 10 best horror video games to play this Halloween. Okay. And like I said, there's plenty. We'll run through this list, and I'll let you guys know how I felt about it if I played it. If I haven't, I can also let you know if it looked interesting enough. Okay. There was a new Amnesia Rebirth. Now, I did mention the Amnesia games. Please play those. They're great atmospheric horror games. There's 2 Amnesia games that came out before in like the early 2010s. Check those out. Amnesia Rebirth just came out. Developed by Frictional Games. Yeah, it came out on October 20th. It's a perfect time to play it. So definitely give that a shot if you really like the atmospheric type of horror. And I haven't seen too much gameplay on Rebirth, so maybe I'll give it a dabble myself. Emily Wants to Play, developed by SKH Apps. I don't know what the fuck that is, but it's got a clown. Listen, I have a clown phobia. I fucking hate clowns more than anything. They terrify me. So Emily Wants to Play has to do with clowns. Count me out. But I don't know. Have you guys played it? Let me know. The Evil Within. This came out 6 years ago. This, like I said, developed by Bethesda Softworks. Same guy, like I said, same. The main man who directed the first. He directed the first Resident Evil. Shinji Mikami. He is the brains behind the Evil Within. I'm pretty sure the Evil Within 2. So if you liked what he did in the Resident Evil games, then here you go. It's a great third-person horror game. Ooh, it's a mindfuck. Five Nights at Freddy's. You want to play a game that's all about jump scares and just cheap thrills? This is the game. I don't recommend this because it's just, I don't know. I never was interested in this, but the internet was fucking engulfed in Five Nights at Freddy flames. They were just, everyone was so into playing this. They really were. It was ridiculous. All the big YouTubers, streamers, just, oh my god. You just could not see people playing it. Friday the 13th, the game. Actually, this is a really good game. The Friday the 13th game is way better than Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight is just surface level of this game. Friday the 13th, if you liked slasher horror films and you played maybe some slasher horror games in your life, try this game. It is a really fun game to play by yourself or play with friends. You can be Jason or you can be stupid kids that get killed. Something better than that. Outlast, I mentioned that before. Developer by Red Barrels. Oh, the other developer was Gun Media for Friday the 13th. Sorry. Outlast is a game where you can't really kill anything. All you have is your camcorder to get you through the darkness, and you're just trying to survive in this insane asylum. It's really fucking terrifying, though. Resident Evil 2. This is the remake that this list is talking about, but the game, the original is fucking great, too. Talk about a fantastic remake. For this game. This is an amazing looking game. It plays amazingly. If you liked Resident Evil 4, 5, or 6, or any of the Revelations, yada yada yada, if you like third person Resident Evil, this game will bring you to its roots of the old Resident Evil games, but in a third person flair. It's not as like insanely action packed like Resident Evil 6. Don't even get me started with that garbage. It is designed to a pacing to where you can appreciate it and you will enjoy it. It is so good. It's so fucking good. I spent like 40 hours. I beat this game 4 times. I know it's not a long game, but I still beat it 4 times, and I spent 40 hours in it. That's a lot of stuff. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Now, you want to play a different approach of Resident Evil games, first-person style. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard is fucking great. It is such a unique experience of a game. You will not forget anything that happens to you in this. This is Capcom at its finest for first-person horror. I definitely give it a shot. Now, speaking of fantastic horrors, you got Silent Hill 2. I've never played Silent Hill 2. I've seen plenty of my friends play it. I've only played the first one, the fourth one. I haven't played the second or third one. The first 3 Silent Hill games are the best ones. 4 is the bottom of the list if you want to include 4, but the first 3 are definitely solid contenders for being the best. Silent Hill 2, a lot of people say that is the best one. And yeah, oh my god, this came out when the PlayStation 2 came out, right? 2001. Konami, when they were at their finest, those fucktards nowadays. This is a game that will make you shit your pants. And Pyramid Head fucking up a doll in a sink is so fucked up. It's so fucked up. Oh my god. It's ridiculous. You have to see it. And last on the list is Until Dawn. Look, if you want to play a game that's like kind of a roller coaster type of horror game where it doesn't require much of you to do besides make decisions and stuff and maybe move around a little bit. It's more story-based, story narrative than anything. But this is another game that so many fucking streamers, YouTubers, gamers were playing for the PlayStation 4. I can't stress it enough, guys. It was ridiculous. And now they made the as developer by Sony. Now they made the Dark Medias trilogy or Dark Medias Pictures games. Same process. You're making decisions, people die, yada yada. It's almost like a Saw type game where you choose who lives and who dies, or just, you just gotta pass some trials. So that is the top 10 best horror games of this list. Now, like I said, play Diablo. Go back and play Diablo 1 or 2. Play Dead Space. I can't believe Dead Space isn't on here. Play Alien Isolation. Play all those games I mentioned before. You will not regret it at all. Okay, now, last but not least for the spookiness is, and like I said, guys, let me know what was your favorite scary or horror game, your scariest moment. What's your favorite scary monster? There's so many. Mine's always gonna be fucking necromorphs, dude. Fucking necromorphs are terrifying in a good way, but yeah, they're fucking whew. And they have such a cool origin story and how they even come to be. Like Dead Space lore is so great, man. It's fuck you, EA. Okay. If you guys don't know, EA shut down Visceral Game Studios, developers who made Dead Space, about a good few years ago. It's really sad. Really, really sad. All right, last but not least, the 10 scariest monsters in video game history. What goes well with a horror game? Scary monsters, you can't have one without the other. They go hand in hand. Like, you can have spooky settings and all that, and spooky atmosphere and music, but you gotta have the scariness of all scariness. The monsters. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say here. The monsters are the one and only thing that keeps a scary game alive. I am telling you. You have to have at least one or multiple scary monsters. They just have to stand out. And this is where developers get really, really creative in their twisted minds. Because this is where they have fun. And I really would love to develop a horror video game or be on the team that decides like how a spooky monster should look like. Oh my god. That'd be so crazy. Okay. Starting with this. Regenerators, Resident Evil 4. Yes, these were some pretty freaky fucking enemies. For one, they make the little thing called they have the most unique sound effects for their breathing when they're coming at you. You also see them just lying in wait for you. Like literally, like physically lying there. And they come to life eventually. You just don't know which ones are going to try to get you or nothing. And they're kind of a pain in the ass to kill. You have to have like thermal goggles to see where their weak spots are and take them out. Otherwise, they'll just keep regenerating and come at you. But the regenerators are fantastic enemies in Resident Evil. Which I'm actually fucking upset that they never brought them back. If they did, let me know, guys. I would like to know for sure. I would really like to know if they brought them back. Oh my god, Broken Neck, Fatal Frame 2. That's another great horror franchise, is Fatal Frame. Oh my god, talk about like being in a Japanese horror movie. Oh my fucking god, it's terrifying. Where your camera is a weapon and you have to use it. Okay, Fatal Frame, you guys gotta play that. you definitely have to give that a shot. Fatal Frame is terrifying. Broken Neck, I don't remember that enemy at all because I only played the first one. But Fatal Frame fans out there know how good this game is. Your Girlfriend Paula, Shadows of the Dam. Never heard of this game, but if you guys have, let me know what you think. Oh my god, the twin victim in Silent Hill 4. Fucking life-size crawl, baby-headed, not even non-bipedal things crawling at you in linear hallways. That is nightmare fuel. Or in hallways. Oh my god. You guys see this shit? This enemy is fucking horrifying. So, you don't even know when it's coming at you. It's so fucking freaky. Oh my god. I still have nightmares of that. Lisa in Silent Hills PT. Yeah, this bitch be fucking terrifying herself. Oh my god. It is absolutely horrifying. The PT, if you were one of those lucky souls, that's right, lucky, to play this and experience it, you definitely know for sure what you're getting yourself into. But Lisa is oh my god, dude. She's absolutely terrifying. That whole experience. Watch someone play it. Watch the silent, like someone, no commentary or anything. Just watch it on YouTube and you will shit your pants. The Witch in Left 4 Dead. Yeah, that's a great one. She's pretty freaky too. She just charges right at your ass. But yeah, she's pretty freaky. The Mannequins in Condemned Criminal Origins. Yeah, we talked about Condemned, didn't we? That's a great franchise, which I really do wish they got a third game. It's published by Sega, too. Sega is all about that. Definitely check this out if you have an Xbox. I think it was on PlayStation 3 too, as well. I think it was exclusive, actually. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You can get this on Steam, although it's not very well optimized for Steam. I tried playing it. I just couldn't get it to run. Definitely check it out. The Librarian in Metro 2033. Yeah, that's a crazy cool enemy too. I beat Metro earlier this year. The first two games for the first time. That was great. Ooh, okay, and we were finally the last but not least, the Stalker Necromorph in Dead Space 2 and 3. Guys, Dead Space literally fucking scared the shit out of me when it first came out. Dead Space 1, 2, and 3. Oh my fucking lord, man. Dead Space 1, just real quick, I had to stop playing it halfway. I got too scared. Then Dead Space 2 came out, played that halfway, got really fucking scared. Then I went back and beat Dead Space 1, and then I went to Dead Space 2. Then I played Dead Space 3. I pretty much shat my pants in every single game. It is absolutely horrifying. And you guys know the Stalker Necromorph is no fucking pushover. They're such a cool, unique enemy, though. They're fantastically designed. Now, all these things I listed, all these great enemies and games that I listed, you should check them all out. At least dabble with them or try one of them out. Like I said, Dead Space will always be my favorite trilogy of horror games, and then obviously I think Resident Evil comes next. I played a lot of Resident Evil games growing up, and I enjoyed the fuck out of it. And I also like the video games that aren't even horror, but they have like a pocket horror thing that goes on that really freaks you out, or just a really dark toned or themed game. It's got these spooky elements, but it's not horror entirely. It's just dark fantasy. I love that. I really do like that. I like dark concepts. I like dark themed games, just with story or dialogue, monsters, just everything. You know, it doesn't always have to be like jump scares or spooky monsters. You can have really dark telling stories. You know, storytelling in that is so good when it's done right. Because a lot of horror games don't have good stories. Like Outlast's story is pretty stupid. Oh my god! Oh my god! Fear. Fear is another great horror game you should play. Fear 1 is probably the best one, but you know you can play all three of them and see what you guys think. But Alma is fucking terrifying. Oh my god! I was one of those people that got to first witness the gameplay reveal for Fear 1 back in like what, 2003, 2004? I can't remember. Holy shit balls! That game was so fucking cool and terrifying at the same. Oh my god, it's terrifying. Woo! Monolith Studios. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that is it for the Niko Halloween episode. Thank you. All right. Hey, we actually got through close to an hour. I appreciate that completely. Now, guys, with that said, I hope you got a little bit of some spookiness vibes throughout you. You did a little shakes, did a little cold sweat. You felt a little uneasy because I brought back some memories that you had with the horror life and games and moments and stuff. Hey, anytime is a good time to play a horror video game, right? But Halloween is October is definitely the best for it. And yeah, if there is a horror game that you couldn't get through because you were too scared, but now you're older and more experienced, go back and beat that motherfucking game. You beat it right now. And you know, guys, like I said, I know it's gonna be hard if you're one of those people that want to go trick or treating or something like that, hand out candy, yada yada. Just I don't know. Depending on where you live, I hope it goes well, and I hope you guys just have a good. I just hope you have a good Halloween, right? October is my favorite month because, for one, my birthday is in October, and Halloween is definitely my favorite holiday of all time. I love Halloween. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, you're always welcome to come check out more Niko Show episodes. This will be posted on podcast. You'll see it on YouTube. Sorry there was no Twitch stream. Any Twitch followers out there, that's okay. You can only see it on YouTube and podcast. And then join the Discord server, guys. Let's hang out and get to know each other. Once again, thank you guys so much. And please have a great scary time in Halloween. Me, I'm just going to play video games and eat a calzone. All right, bye.